name is Zohaib Qadri. I also go by the nickname of Zoe. I've gone by that since I was 5 years old. I'm a Pakistani Muslim American living in Austin, Texas, and I've called Austin home for the past 12 years. But before moving to Texas, when I was 12, I grew up in upstate New York. When I moved to Texas and I told folks I was from New York, they automatically assumed the city, but I was three and a half hours from the city. But a lot of my classmates at the time had parents who worked in New York City. So interestingly enough, when on the date of 9/11, the school didn't tell us anything until after the school day. I think the attacks happened sometime in the morning, around like 8, 9 a.m. But we weren't told until like after the bell rang that okay, something happened, and New York City and this and that. So I just remember taking the bus home, and getting home, and my parents were like glued to the TV, and as an 11-year-old, I was just. I don't even remember life of an 11-year-old, but I just remember being very confused, like what's going on, and it wasn't instantly, but over time I started having classmates of mine or teachers of mine just be very different towards me, and like I said, as an 11-year-old who's grown up in this environment in the city and the state his whole life, suddenly feeling that othering feeling for me was just like, why are people suddenly mean to me or saying these things to me or blaming me or being, it just blew my mind. My dad started having folks at his work, be very, rude to him. My little sister, she was 7 at the time. A girl came up to her and said, "Your people did this." And when it came to me specifically, just all of the very nasty Islamophobic language that could be used was used. I had some teachers who just kind of shifted, or they were just really mean, and I didn't really realize that at first why they were. It wasn't until after I left New York and we moved to Texas, and I was like, yeah, I think they might have been like racist, bigots, whatnot. There was a teacher who, she was a math teacher, and I remember this vividly. Like I would do my homework or take a test, and I would have the same exact answers as my white counterparts, but I would get a 70 and they would get 100. Look at their paper after. I'm like, why am I getting a 70? But I was just. I was a very quiet kid, so I didn't question it. I was just like, okay. Or if we were taking a test and people needed more time, everyone in the class would get extra time except for me. Or she would find every reason to basically kind of bully me. And I just kind of held it inside, and I didn't tell anyone until after the fact. I just never had witnessed, and maybe I grew up in a fairly sheltered time that I could say as an 11-year-old it was the first time and after a horrific incident that affected so many people in this country and around the world, it was the first time I experienced someone being a bigot towards me. But I was just confused. I'm like, I don't know why. Why are you? And thinking about it later, why are you as a 40, 50-year-old teacher? Why are you bullying this 11-year-old kid? Right? I think when we come, everyone would be home for dinner. Around the dinner table, you'd hear it. Or my sister would be crying after school, and and it wasn't just us, right? It was other folks in the community. All my family lives in the East Coast, so they're all in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. They were all getting different levels of bigotry, and it wasn't just my community, right? It was anyone who might have looked like me, right? So it could have been an Indian person who's Christian, right? Or it could have been an Indian person who's Sikh or Hindu, and people would just look at them or see a turban or a beard or just see a skin color and be like, oh, you're a Muslim, and now I'm gonna have